Wednesday 29th of September, day 29 of the Property Diary. Now, what I want to talk about today is just some of the guerrilla marketing that you can actually do to get tenant buyers for your properties. I've spoken to a lot of people about this, and this is how one of the techniques that we use to get tenant buyers. And a lot of people said, look, come on, tell me more, exactly how do you do it? So, I'm just going to go into a bit more detail. Is it possible that where you live, and this won't relate to everybody, but where you live you might have wooden telegraph poles? Well, I utilise these wooden telegraph poles to put up some ugly signs. And people see those ugly signs because they stand out like a sore thumb, and people call me and they're interested in the properties. So what I want to show you today is how I do that, where I do it, the tools I use for doing it, and some of the techniques and reasons why they end up staying there. So, here I am, I'm in Chatham. I've got a property just around the road, you know, which is 29 Luton High Street. I'm just going to put up a board here today. Now here's the board itself. Okay. Now, 3-bed house for sale by owner, no mortgage required, and a telephone number. Do you think that might get some inquiries? Does it look ugly? Is it going to get people coming along and have a look at it? Yeah, simple answer is yes. So, what I do is I get a 3-metre length of a tube, plastic tubing that you would get in any sort of hardware store. Well, what I do is I cut it in half. And I use that for 2 reasons. Here are my little bits of tube. Okay, I've got one piece here, and you see what I've done here, I don't know if you can see how we can see this, but I've actually cut down there, and it's cut on both sides. So what happens is that will split apart, and in a minute you'll be able to see I can actually put my signboard in it. So that's a 1.5 metre bit of tube. I've got another 1.5 metre bit of tube, and I've done the same. I've actually, imagine this is the tube, I've cut down half, and then I've cut into it, and I've taken out half of it. And then my hammer fits nicely into that tube, and you'll see I've just used some gaffer tape, and it's there, and it's solid, it's not coming out. Then I've got 2 or 3 tacks, okay, and with your signboards, you literally just basically put them finger tight in the actual board, down the centre, and then basically when you actually get to the telegraph pole, you literally use your hammer, you hold it up in the air using your first pole, and then you use your hammer to knock it in. So let me show you exactly how I do that. Now let me throw a few caveats into this. What I've done there may not be something that the council is happy for me to do. Is it possible that I could get a fine? I can't actually condone you doing this in your local area. All I'm sharing with you is one of the ways that I find is successful in finding tenant buyers for me. You might not even have wooden telegraph poles in your area. Okay, are there other ways of doing it? Could you get some tie wraps? Could you put it up on a metal pole of some sort in prominent areas? Yeah, of course you can. But I say I can't condone you doing this because you're going to find that there'll be council bylaws that they're probably going to have an issue with you doing this. So, another few points I'd like to point out here. What I've put up there is a very quick sign that I've just literally had in the back of my my car, and I've just put up so you can see what I'm talking about. But I've actually done that with a permanent marker on a bit of yellow Corex board. What I actually do for all my normal signs, I use black paint, and I actually painted on there. I'll tell you why, because after about 3 months or so out in the sunshine, the permanent marker will start disappearing and fading. So I use something more permanent. And I'll show you a sign in a minute that's been up there for about the last 6 months, and you'll see it's completely disappeared and you can't see it. But the reason I want to show you that is because of the height that I've put the signs, they don't get taken down. Do you think it's possible that if a council worker goes past that sign I've just put up there, drives past it and thinks, that's not supposed to be up there, he can't reach it? And probably for health and safety reasons, he can't jump up there, he can't get a lift from his buddy to try and get it down. He'd have to go back to the offices, he'd have to go and pick up a pair of step ladders and come back and do it properly. And do you think it's possible my sign's up there for a really long time? Well, they do. I'm just going to show you a sign now that's been up there for the last 6 months and how it's faded. For 2 reasons. It stays up for a long time, you will get lots of inquiries. 2, use something more permanent than a permanent marker so that it works well for you. Let me show you this other sign. So how about this for interesting? Right outside a school, okay, now if we look up here, I don't know how well you can see this in the sunshine, but as we're driving up here, look over to there on the left hand side. What's that big yellow board up there? Well, that is one of my signboards, okay. Now I'll go back and give you a close-up picture of it and have a look at it in a bit more detail. But as I say, that's been up there for the last 6 months. It's been right outside a school. The mums and dads sit outside there and pick up at sort of 3:30 and drop off at 9 o'clock in the morning. You know, do you think I got a few calls from that? Yeah, of course I did. Has it now worn out? Yeah, that's been a learning point. So that's why I use the sort of more permanent paint rather than just a permanent marker. So there you go, that's the reason I put these boards up. They get inquiries, they're a very simple, cheap way of doing things, and it's something you can do very simply and very quickly. Now whether you want to do it under the cover of darkness, whether you want to do it in the brazenness of the midday sun as I've just done today, well, that's going to be down to your personality and how confident you feel about things. So there we go, that's today's tip. That's what I've been up to today, putting signboards up. Interestingly, I've just driven past 29 Luton High Street, and guess what was happening outside? There's a guy with a pad and a pen looking at the ugly yellow signs I've got outside 29 Luton High Street, writing down the number. I think I'll probably be getting a phone call from him later. So there you go. Today, 29th of September, day 29. I shall look forward to speaking to you tomorrow.